Mr. Rolf Richard Keil. Actually, Rolf is an economist by education, but his passion is water. Over the time, he has gained an expert level of technical knowledge regarding sustainable water management. He has already got awards and has featured in Forbes and other magazines for his drive to realize the vision for an advanced and integrated, truly sustainable water management around the globe. Today, Rolf is driving several projects and initiatives ahead on behalf of the more than 100-year-old BESIX Group, always aiming for the new technologies for the water treatment industry. His topic today is obvious. It's a new approach to integrated water management. Please.
Good afternoon, everybody. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for the introduction, Stefan. I already got an award today as well as the most innovative problem solver. Thank you so much. And I was wondering how I qualify for that. So my first thought was, it can only be by inspiration of my wonderful and beautiful wife, to whom I'm married for so many years and have a happy family, because she is a constant inspiration of staying innovative to me. Then, thank you so much. There's another sample of that in order, I believe I need to live up to this trophy somehow. So I want to start my short afternoon presentation with a little video that illustrates you how we solved another problem, which is like how to get the attention of people, like management. They're also super busy. And a couple of years ago, we thought we have a pretty cool idea, and how to get that to management. And instead of presenting slides, instead of having big workshop and meetings or writing like a 50-page economics back office support, this is what we've done. Imagine this is we produced, instead of writing a report, we produced a video and just sent this by WE transfer to our top executives in Brussels. We are a privately held company, so we actually had the unique opportunity to send that video, our pitch, to the guys whose pocket we wanted to dive into and say, like, give me your money in order to finance the following. So it was quite a challenge for us to come up with it. And I was talking about what inspires us, and I think it's the same for most of us, and that is people. You will see in that video that this is a group and a team effort, and I think
water. It's life's most basic need. But there's a water crisis in our world right now. Seriously, a crisis. Nearly 1 billion people live without clean drinking water. It's happening all over the world, especially in developing areas of Sub-Saharan Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America.
Our solution to this problem is to tow icebergs from Antarctica and bring them to those countries.
As an example, you can go to Heard Island, just north of the Antarctic, and haul back an iceberg to the UAE.
The cost for a tugboat to tow such an iceberg is critical, and the journey can take up to 10 months to reach the UAE. To convert this significant expense into a profit, we go into diversification, using a cruise liner to tow the icebergs and actually make money on the way. At the same time, Six Construct can utilize their vast marine and civil experience and build the onshore infrastructure to manage the water distribution later on. Finally, it means a recurring revenue opportunity for B6 Group that goes into the millions, and it allows for global expansion into the future. Your average iceberg contains about 90 million cubic meters of fresh fossil water. That's enough for 2 million people for an entire year. In financial terms, that means one single iceberg can yield up to $750 million in utility services.
I can already hear you thinking, is all of this legal? Well, technically, once an iceberg floats away from the shore for about 12 nautical miles, it enters the high seas. And there it's a legal no man's land, and anybody can use it whichever way they want.
So why wasn't it done before? In the 70s, when people first really thought about it, technologies such as the insulating geotextiles were not available. Today, we can employ new technologies to help us make the transport more economic.
We are already in contact with the right partners, both from the public and the private sector, such as MSC cruise liners, but also the governments of the UAE, South Africa and Australia.
The next step is to bring all parties together, to validate our assumptions and transform them into a viable business plan, to realize this ambitious project together. Good. So that was our pitch to the management, and I obviously wouldn't show it to you if it would not have been successful. So we got the money we need. We have the partners lined up. The next steps I can divulge with you. We're going to harvest an iceberg out this hard island. We're going to tow it the way to Perth. And we're going to supply Western Australia with a little bit of summer drought alleviance in about 24 months from now. So I keep you posted on that, and track me on LinkedIn because I update you there as we proceed. Now, coming to the presentation. Did you guys know that today on our planet there's more people walking than have ever died, ever since humanity? With all these wars, with all the disasters, all that we can't have medication, all that we can't have water, all the everything, the bad things that happen every day. Today we are more people walking around that ever have died. That's quite a development in quantitative terms. Now, my topic is water. With water, it's totally different. Water, the quantity of water that we have available on our planet never changed. It's always the same. The amount of water, the quality of water that we have on our planet is exactly stable. You think of water as a gas, you think of water as a liquid, and you think of water as we have just seen it, as a solid form like ice. In our minds, and this is where I want to get into you, is we think of water as a liquid most of the time. Today we have like a phalanx of technologies. I will not bore you with that, but I will mention some of them that can make our life much easier, because while we have heard in the video we have a water crisis, it is actually us that are causing that kind of crisis. And I want you to join me in changing your mind, because we are here in this room, everybody of us is a multiplier. So I want you to understand the water cycle and carry that message into your boardrooms, into your meetings, and into your commercial and private and social communities. We have a very bad habit, because after we drink that water, the water that you just drink here on your table, you're going to take it to the restroom, and from then on, it's waste. That's wrong. And this is where the problem that we're facing today starts. It is good business for us, I agree, but we cannot manage it with the funds which are available. And we also have a responsibility to future generations. So I invite you to join me to stop telling anything about wastewater. This is the wrong term. And I would invite you to use the term biorefinery water, because all the water that we're using, we just have to mimic nature. We can recycle it and reuse it. In the US, beer is being brewed from this kind of water. This is how far we are. In Singapore, it is bottled, so you can actually drink it. It's called New Water, quite famous. So I would like to invite you to join me, because the best way to program your mind is to say something or to write it. So I would like to have everybody in the room repeat biorefinery water. Let me hear it. Okay, I didn't get that quite right. Can you do this again, like a little bit more schmackes? All right, that's not bad. Okay, let's give it one more hit. Beautiful. All right. Thank you very much. So biorefinery water it is. And it's a part of nature, so we're not doing anything specific. Now think about the money too. Well, when you dispose of biorefinery water back into the sea, into the river, into whatever you do with it, and you do not take advantage of the valuable resources here, you're throwing away 40 to 50 cents per cubic meter. That's big money. I give you an example. Here in the capital, Abu Dhabi, every day, and we treat about 3/4 of the biorefinery water in this country here in the UAE SB6 in our concessions, 450,000 cubic meters of tertiary treated biorefinery water goes straight into the Musafir Channel. Now you multiply that over there, that's a big lunch. And you're throwing away, in the same moment, a lot of resources which you could actually manufacture inside the country. So I just want to stimulate your mind and put a couple of seeds into it. This is a typical chart. Who wants it? I will send you my slides so you can take photos or ask me later. I'll send you the slides. This is just the obvious, which I will not elaborate on. Let me come to the solution. What do we do? Why I'm talking to you about that is, we are B6. Some of you may know B6 because we are very famous for building Burj Khalifa and stuff like that. But in effect, we are the largest environmental management company here in the UAE. As I mentioned before, we have built the infrastructure for more than 3/4 of the closed cycle water management systems in the UAE. And we're not only building it, we also come with the money. We heard Ibele talk earlier about how tough it is to do that. And we have done the first PPP here in this country. I will show you a slide. And that was at a time when Ajman, which is the government, the Emirates where we did this, was not considered a 5-star investment territory. So this slide just explains to you what we do. I skip over that as well. If somebody is interested in PPPs or BOTs, give me a call. Here, this is in Ajman. What we have done here, we built a municipal water treatment plant, same as goes down the toilet, down the drain. It is treated nicely so it fulfills all the qualities to be discharged back into a lagoon, into the environment. And we thought that's actually not so clever. Because every year, that's actually tenfold what we do there, all this water goes back into the lagoon, nothing happens with it. So we decided with the ruler of Ajman to make a public-private partnership and say, like, start small. So we took 5% of our wastewater treatment plant, which is 10,000 cubic meters a day. We polished it, we gave it additional treatment, so it has no more smell, no more pathogens, nothing of that, and selling it with full market risk to the industries which are trying to develop next door. Now guess what? That is a good business. But how does the government look at this? And we heard earlier on, you need to go through the government, you need to have this buy-in from the authority and these kind of stakeholders as well. Now, we save the government of Ajman to purchase and subsidize seawater desalinated water, which they subsidize at a rate of about 70 cents per cubic meters. Now, this is even the bigger ticket than what we do here. So aside from the glory, which I may call it, of saving the environment, doing something really good, we're employing a lot of Emiratis here, which we're training up. So we're way ahead of the Emiratization program. And we're actually doing a business. From this plant, coming to the agricultural side, we're taking the sludge and grow camel fodder. Now you can imagine, and most of you guys know how much money the UAE spends to import camel fodder from Africa. We want to be a competitor to that if we can do that. But on the contrary, we can bring these concepts to Africa and have a true public-private partnership. And I'm talking about the partnership with government, who is a shareholder, local companies which have the knowledge, which are embedded in the communities, who can alleviate the fears and get the social stakeholder buy-in and realize biorefinery water, a closed circle environment. There is no place on the planet where there is not enough water to sustain the life of the people who inhabit the place. It is the management, it is our responsibility to make that right. And this is my business, this is my company's business. This is how a structure like this looks. I'm not going to talk about more detail because it's really like acrylic and just an example. This is how a PPP looks on a paper. It takes about 9 to 12 months to actually land the bird with contractual and financial things. Here's a project that we're actually doing in Africa already, aside from building the Nachtigall hydropower plant in Cameroon at the moment, a seawater desal plant in Senegal. But this is something that involves everybody. This is what we heard earlier on, where a colleague had to send the money back home to the village by bus. And guess what? I don't think that they have like a lot of power over there in order to treat water. Everything goes back to the river. And sanitation is on page 5 of the agenda. Here we can really make a difference with SME investments, local engagement, and we can come in with technologies which are easy, which are solar powered. We're having plants that produce water from the air. It's called air to water. It's a solar panel that absorbs the humidity and creates drinking water with a very little treatment. It is a solar power. You can just put it on any parking lot. You can put it in the middle of the desert and you have your cup of water and it's perfect. Now, and we heard earlier on from smart payments. I lived for 12 years in South Africa and I had the smarter smartphone before my buddies in Germany. Why is that? Because the telecom network was either stolen because everybody was stealing the wire in order to sell copper to the market, or it wasn't laid at all. So you had to have a mobile phone. So we were much quicker with that. And so is Africa way ahead of other countries like my own Germany with these kind of payment structures. We heard it, everybody is very much familiar with it. So I encourage you to call on us, call on the private sector, everybody that you are here, get the right ideas. We heard a lot of enthusiastic comments throughout the day. What can be done? How you can come from building a hotel into like a city center with a mall and what have you. We are here for that. But we are also here for these little small businesses that solve your everyday life. And I'm a strong believer that if you can help one person's life, you can improve one person's life in a day, you will win the community and you will have the support that you need. And from our experience working here in the Middle East as a reference with B6 since more than 50 years, it is actually one of our strengths that people, although I don't speak Arabic, actually can trust us. Because we're here for the long shot. We are not an investor who comes with a butterfly, we make a PPP and I have my exit strategy already lined up. I'm not Citibank. We see through our concessions, and we always, sorry for Citibank is a good bank, of course. Yeah, that's just we're just trying to diversify between the investment strategies. So we are there for a longer term. We are here since 50 years. This PPP that I shown you earlier on in Ajman, this Safi it was called, where we treat the wastewater, as we were calling it, into biorefinery water and sell it to the market. That was conceptualized 15 years ago at full market risk. And we took this opportunity away, I can say that, from Thames Water, who thought that was way too risky to do. And this is our flagship public-private partnership today. This is how we got asked by Abu Dhabi and by many others in the region and beyond, why don't you come and do the same for us? Because we're still here. We're expanding this. And as you have heard, and this is in line with what I heard from many good ideas, we started with polishing the water. Now we're expanding it. We add on satellites. We're producing Camel Fodder and many other things. So I invite you in that spirit to get into your mind, first of all, that we don't have wastewater, but... Oh, okay, what was it again? Yay, very good. Okay, so we've got biorefinery water, and we stick in there and we solve our problems together. Thank you very much, and let's meet again.